To summarize the book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, by Robert Cialdini in 20 pages with examples, we can divide the book into its basic parts and summarize each part with illustrative examples. The book focuses on 6 main principles of persuasion. The Introduction. In the introduction, Cialdini explains the importance of studying the psychology behind persuasion and how understanding these principles can help people protect themselves from manipulation. Chapter 1. Reciprocity. In the first chapter of Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini discusses the principle of reciprocity, which is considered one of the most important principles of persuasion. This principle is essential for understanding how individuals influence each other and how it can be used to achieve various goals. 1. Definition and explanation. Reciprocity is a principle that suggests people feel obligated to return a favor when they receive something. This sense of obligation comes from social expectations and cultural norms that dictate reciprocation for received favors. Key example: if you are invited to someone's house for dinner, you feel obligated to invite them to your house for dinner in the future. This sense of duty arises from the social norm that dictates reciprocation. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini supports this principle with a series of experiments and studies demonstrating how people tend to reciprocate even in small situations. Example: in a famous experiment, researchers gave participants a free drink without asking, then later asked them to purchase lottery tickets. Participants who received the drink were more likely to buy the tickets compared to those who received nothing. 3. Practical applications. Reciprocity is widely used in marketing and advertising, where marketers offer free samples or small gifts to motivate customers to make purchases. Example: when a store offers a free sample of a new product, customers feel ethically obligated to purchase the product in return for the favor. 4. The power of reciprocity in persuasion. Cialdini explains that the power of reciprocity comes from societal expectations, where a person who does not reciprocate is seen as antisocial or even selfish. These expectations create significant pressure on individuals to adhere to the principle of reciprocity. Example: in companies, the principle of reciprocity can be used to motivate employees. For example, offering small rewards to employees can lead to increased productivity and loyalty. 5. Reciprocity. Across different cultures, Cialdini highlights that reciprocity is not limited to a specific culture but is present in most cultures worldwide. While the ways it is applied may vary, the core principle remains the same. Example: in some cultures, gift-giving is an essential part of social and economic interactions, and reciprocity is always expected, often in equal or greater value. 6. Manipulating reciprocity. While reciprocity can be positive, it can also be used unethically to manipulate others. Cialdini warns against these negative uses and provides advice on recognizing and resisting them. Example: sellers who offer small gifts with the intention to manipulate can make customers feel obligated to purchase unnecessary products. Summary. Chapter 1 of Influence. The Psychology of Persuasion elaborates on the principle of reciprocity in detail, providing examples and studies to support it. This principle demonstrates how simple actions, such as offering a small gift, can create a strong sense of obligation to reciprocate, and how it is widely used in marketing and social interactions. Chapter 2. Commitment and Consistency. In this chapter, Robert Cialdini explores the principle of commitment and consistency, which focuses on how individuals can be influenced by making them commit to certain positions or ideas and remain obedient to them. 1. Definition and explanation. The principle of commitment and consistency is based on the idea that people tend to stick to their commitments and remain consistent with their previous beliefs and decisions. This principle works by convincing individuals that they should act consistently with their previous positions. Key example: if someone publicly declares a belief or commitment, they are more likely to adhere to that belief or commitment in the future, even in the face of external pressures to change their minds. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini presents a series of experiments and studies that demonstrate how the principle of commitment and consistency operates in reality. Example: a study showed that individuals who took a small step toward a particular goal, such as signing a petition, were more likely to take further steps to support that goal in the future. 3. Practical applications. The principle of commitment and consistency can be applied to various aspects of life, such as marketing, politics, and even personal relationships. Example: technology companies use strategies of commitment and consistency to attract users and keep them committed to their platforms by designing user experiences that keep them engaged and committed. 4. The power of commitment and consistency in persuasion. Cialdini indicates that commitment and consistency can be effective tools for influencing the behavior of others. Example: in politics, candidates can use commitment and consistency to attract voters and persuade them to vote by reaffirming their commitment to specific goals and maintaining consistency in their beliefs. 5. Warning against manipulation of commitment and consistency. While the principle of commitment and consistency can be positive in some cases, it can also be used unethically to manipulate others. Example: some companies may exploit commitment and consistency to push customers into buying unwanted products by directing them to make small commitments before the purchase. Summary. Chapter 2 of Influence. The Psychology of Persuasion highlights the importance of the principle of commitment and consistency in understanding how individuals influence each other. Cialdini provides examples and studies that underscore the significance of this principle in marketing, politics, and personal relationships. Chapter 3: Social Proof. In the third chapter of Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini explores the principle of social proof, which relies on the fundamental idea that individuals tend to make decisions based on what others consider correct or appropriate. 1. Definition and explanation. Social proof is based on the concept that people look to the actions of others as a cue for how to behave in certain situations. Primary example: when someone sees a long line outside a restaurant, they are inclined to perceive it as a signal of the food's quality and popularity, making them more likely to enter and try the food there. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini presents a series of experiments and studies that illustrate how social proof influences people's behavior. Example: in one study, researchers placed a group of individuals in a room and asked them to consider a specific topic. When researchers introduced a person who behaved in a certain way, they noticed that others gradually started to follow their behavior. 3. Practical applications. The principle of social proof is utilized in various fields, including marketing, politics, and social behavior. Example: companies leverage customer testimonials and endorsements to promote their products, relying on social proof to persuade others to purchase based on positive experiences. 4. The power of social proof in persuasion. Cialdini explains that social proof can significantly impact individuals' decisions, even if those decisions are not based on personal knowledge or careful evaluation. Example: in many cases, individuals tend to make social decisions based on what others consider correct or common without independently evaluating the information. 5. Social proof in different cultures. The principle of social proof is not limited to a specific culture or society but is observed in most cultures around the world. Example: in some cultures, adherence to social norms and behaviors is more stringent compared to others, highlighting the importance of social proof in shaping social behavior. 6. Manipulating social proof. As with most psychological principles, social proof can be unethically manipulated to influence individuals' behavior without their genuine consent. Example: advertisements featuring famous personalities endorsing specific products can trigger individuals' desire to emulate them without independent evaluation. Summary: the third chapter of Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, elucidates how social proof operates as a potent force in guiding individuals' behavior and decision-making. Through examples and studies, Cialdini demonstrates how social proof can be effectively used to achieve various goals, whether positive or negative. Chapter 4. Liking. In the fourth chapter of Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini explores the principle of liking, emphasizing how interpersonal attraction plays a crucial role in persuasion and influence. 1. Definition and explanation. The principle of liking suggests that people are more likely to comply with requests from individuals they know and like. Likability stems from various factors such as physical attractiveness, similarity, compliments, and cooperation. Primary example: when individuals find someone likable, they tend to be more receptive to their suggestions and requests, often due to a desire to maintain positive relationships and avoid conflict. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini presents experiments and studies that demonstrate how liking influences compliance and decision-making. Example: in a study, participants were more likely to comply with a request made by someone they found likable, even if the request was unreasonable or against their best interests. 3. Practical applications. The principle of liking is widely utilized in various fields such as sales, marketing, and interpersonal relationships. Example: sales representatives often build rapport with potential customers by finding common interests or offering compliments, increasing the likelihood of a successful sale. 4. The power of liking in persuasion. Cialdini highlights the significant impact of liking on persuasive efforts and social influence. Example: individuals may be more inclined to adopt the preferences or behaviors of people they like, even if they initially had different opinions or attitudes. 5. Liking across cultures. While the principle of liking is universal, cultural norms and values may influence the expression and perception of liking. Example: in some cultures, the importance of building relationships and maintaining harmony enhances the effectiveness of the liking principle in persuasion and social influence. 6. Manipulating. Liking. Similar to other principles of persuasion, liking can be manipulated to influence behavior, both ethically and unethically. Example: advertisers often use attractive spokespeople or endorsements from well-liked individuals to enhance the appeal of their products or services. Summary: Chapter 4 of Influence. The Psychology of Persuasion delves into the principle of liking and its profound impact on persuasion and influence. Through examples and studies, Cialdini demonstrates how likability influences compliance and decision-making processes in various contexts. Chapter 5. Authority. In the fifth chapter of Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini examines the principle of authority, illustrating how people are influenced by figures of authority and expertise. 1. Definition and explanation. The principle of authority suggests that individuals are more likely to comply with requests or directives from those perceived as authoritative figures. Authority can stem from various sources, including titles, uniforms, credentials, and expertise. Primary example: when individuals perceive someone as an authority figure, they are more inclined to trust and follow their guidance, often out of a sense of respect or deference to their knowledge and experience. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini presents experiments and studies that demonstrate the power of authority in influencing behavior and decision-making. Example: in the Milgram experiment, participants were more likely to administer electric shocks to others when instructed to do so by an authority figure in a lab coat, highlighting the profound influence of perceived authority on obedience. 3. Practical applications. The principle of authority is widely utilized in various contexts, including leadership, education, and marketing. Example: in marketing, endorsements from authoritative figures or experts can significantly enhance the credibility and persuasiveness of advertising campaigns. 4. The power of authority in persuasion. Cialdini underscores the substantial impact of authority on individuals' behavior and decision-making processes. Example: individuals may defer to authority figures even when their directives contradict their own beliefs or values, demonstrating the strength of the authority principle in shaping behavior. 5. Authority across cultures. While the principle of authority is universal, cultural norms and values may influence the perception and acceptance of authority. Example: in hierarchical societies, respect for authority figures may be deeply ingrained, leading to greater compliance with their directives. 6. Manipulating authority. As with other principles of persuasion, authority can be manipulated to influence behavior, both ethically and unethically. Example: individuals or organizations may falsely claim authority or expertise to persuade others to comply with their requests or purchase their products. Summary. Chapter 5 of Influence. The Psychology of Persuasion explores the principle of authority and its profound impact on human behavior and decision-making. Through examples and studies, Cialdini demonstrates how authority influences obedience and compliance in various contexts, highlighting its significance in persuasion and social influence. Chapter 6. Scarcity. In the 6th chapter of Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini delves into the principle of scarcity, illustrating how people are influenced by the perception of limited availability or opportunity. 1. Definition and explanation. The principle of scarcity suggests that people tend to place a higher value on items or opportunities that are perceived as scarce or in limited supply. Scarcity can be real or artificially created, but regardless of its origin, it often leads to increased desire and motivation to obtain the scarce item or opportunity. Primary example: when individuals believe that a product is in limited supply or available for a limited time only, they are more likely to perceive it as valuable and feel compelled to acquire it before it becomes unavailable. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini presents experiments and studies that demonstrate the power of scarcity in influencing behavior and decision-making. Example: in a study, participants were more motivated to purchase a product when they were informed that it was available in limited quantities, even if the product was identical to one without scarcity. 3. Practical applications. The principle of scarcity is widely employed in marketing, sales, and persuasion tactics to stimulate demand and encourage action. Example: retailers often use limited-time offers, exclusive promotions, and phrases like "while supplies last" to capitalize on the principle of scarcity and drive sales. 4. The power of scarcity in persuasion. Cialdini emphasizes the significant impact of scarcity on individuals' decision-making processes and behavior. Example: the fear of missing out, FOMO, drives individuals to act quickly and decisively when faced with the prospect of scarcity, leading to impulsive buying behavior and increased competitiveness. 5. Scarcity. Across cultures. While the principle of scarcity is universal, cultural norms and values may influence the perception and response to scarcity. Example: in cultures where collectivism is prevalent, scarcity may evoke a stronger emotional response due to the emphasis on group harmony and shared resources. 6. Manipulating scarcity. As with other principles of persuasion, scarcity can be manipulated to influence behavior, both ethically and unethically. Example: marketers may artificially create scarcity by limiting the availability of a product or exaggerating its exclusivity to drive demand and command higher prices. Summary. Chapter 6 of Influence. The Psychology of Persuasion explores the principle of scarcity and its profound impact on human behavior and decision-making. Through examples and studies, Cialdini demonstrates how scarcity influences motivation, desire, and action, highlighting its significance in marketing, sales, and persuasion strategies. Chapter 7. Unity. In the 7th chapter of Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini explores the principle of unity, emphasizing how a sense of shared identity and belonging influences behavior and decision-making. 1. Definition and explanation. The principle of unity suggests that individuals are more likely to comply with requests or align their behavior with those whom they perceive as part of the same group or possessing shared identity characteristics. Unity is forged through common goals, values, experiences, and affiliations. Primary example: when individuals feel a sense of unity or belonging with a group, they are more inclined to support and cooperate with members of that group, often at the expense of outsiders or competing groups. 2. Experiments and studies. Cialdini presents experiments and studies that demonstrate the power of unity in influencing behavior and decision-making. Example: in a study, participants were more likely to donate money to a cause when they perceived the organization as aligned with their values or interests, fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. 3. Practical applications. The principle of unity is utilized in various contexts, including marketing, activism, and social movements, to mobilize support and foster collective action. Example: activist groups often emphasize shared identity and common goals to rally supporters and amplify their message, leveraging unity to effect social change. 4. The power of unity in persuasion. Cialdini underscores the significant impact of unity on individuals' behavior and decision-making processes. Example: individuals may be more receptive to persuasive messages or requests when they come from someone they perceive as part of their in-group, fostering a sense of camaraderie and mutual support. 5. Unity across cultures. While the principle of unity is universal, cultural norms and values may influence the formation and expression of group identity. Example: in collectivist cultures, the sense of unity and interdependence within social groups may be stronger, leading to greater conformity and cooperation among members. 6. Manipulating unity. As with other principles of persuasion, unity can be manipulated to influence behavior, both ethically and unethically. Example: leaders or influencers may exploit feelings of unity and group identity to rally support for their agenda or marginalize dissenting voices. Summary. Chapter 7 of Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion examines the principle of unity and its profound impact on human behavior and decision-making. Through examples and studies, Cialdini illustrates how a sense of shared identity and belonging fosters cooperation, support, and compliance, highlighting its significance in various domains of social influence and persuasion. In conclusion, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, offers profound insights into the fundamental principles that underlie human behavior and decision-making. Through